Couple of notes, by the way. Speaking of bracketology and more, and this is from a combination of a lot of different guys who do the data. One of them, of course, Joe Lunardi from ESPN. Right now, he still has Kansas, despite getting hammered by Texas on Saturday, as the overall number one seed. Alabama, Houston, and UCLA also number one seeds. Alabama lost at A&M on Saturday. Meanwhile, Baylor, Texas, Purdue, and Arizona, the number two seeds. And honestly, I got to tell you, I understand all the stats and the wins and the quad one or whatever. Baylor, based on how they played Saturday, I mean, I get it, who they've beaten, etc. They were destroyed, embarrassed at home on senior night by Iowa State. And I'm sure Scott Drew is still trying to get that taste out of his mouth. I know that Baylor fans probably are. It was horrible. It was a disgusting performance, and they had nothing. And Iowa State comes in here with their player Grill not on the team anymore, and maybe, hey, TJ, give him credit, because it apparently sparked Iowa State, who beat Baylor now by double digits both times. Kansas State slipped to a number 3 seed. They were beaten also over the weekend. Iowa State, TCU were 5 seeds. West Virginia, a 10th seed. Very nice win against Kansas State. That's who Lunardi at this particular point. Doesn't mean he's always right on, but he's pretty damn close. Those would be the 7 teams from the Big 12 that would get in the tournament.
That was, for Baylor, one of the more underwhelming senior days you're ever going to see. That I don't know what was going on there. Where and look, I would say that in the first half, I wouldn't say that Iowa State was just playing really well. They were playing about average by their standards, and Baylor played really badly. And then in the second half, Baylor continued to play really badly, and then Iowa State started playing well. And for whatever reason, TJ Otzelberger has got Baylor's number right now.
He does.
Yeah, they are 2-0 against them this year. So, yeah, they have their number, and now they face each other a third time to open the tournament. So, if he does, in fact, have their number, that'll be a quick exit for the Bears, and that'll be back-to-back losses to Iowa State in less than a week's time. And that's certainly possible, if not the, probably favorite outcome to happen, because, I mean, what are they going to drastically do differently they should make more shots, I guess, is always possible. I mean, that's always possible, but they don't seem like a great matchup. At least through these first 2 contests where, as you pointed out, I mean, double-digit losses both time, home and away. So now neutral ground in Kansas City, and we'll see if maybe that, changes anything. But, yeah, that's a bad look for both basketball teams. It was a bad look this weekend. I mean, to go out there and be in the situations that you're in where, you're not you winning a championship, which, hey, that can't happen every year. That's fine. But you're both heading to the tournament. You're both feeling good. And now you both have this opportunity to end the regular season on a high note. And not only do you both lose, but you both just lose in bad fashion. I mean, just an ugly fashion. And so really feel for the fans that turned out to try and have this grand send-off for, basketball season at the Farrell Center. And the last time that they'll be able to, do that in this regular fashion, because next year the finale at the Farrell Center will be in January or in late December. So this was the final real regular season finale, and they both laid absolute eggs. And I don't know what got into both teams this weekend. I mean, outside of just the matchups themselves, I mean, the women, much like the men against Iowa State, haven't fared well against West Virginia. They got swept by the Mountaineers. So I don't know if it's just purely a bad matchup thing, but that was also that was a lack of emotion. That was a lack of energy. That was a lack of more than just not the ball not going in the hoop often enough. That was just, I don't know, not a complete no-show, but just a bad showing. And so hopefully they both get that out of their systems, for their sake here in the next couple of days, because you look at the sands in the hourglass and time's running out. I mean, this is the end of the season coming up. I mean, this is you're basically entering win or go home time now, and that's not going to be the case for either one this week. But, if each one of them or if either one of them has a quick exit, that is going to be a bit alarming going into NCAA tournament play, because neither one's guaranteed a long stay by any means. And so hopefully they can regroup a little bit. But, yeah, that was an ugly senior day for sure.
It was horrible. It really, really was. All right, so that's what we have, at least now, when I say we, what we have for you information on the Big 12. But Kansas being the number 1 seed, that was a hell of a win for Rodney Terry in Texas, because they would have had a pretty disappointing finish to the regular season. They're now a number 2 seed. Kansas will not be anything other than a 1 seed no matter what happens in Kansas City. Texas, most likely anything other than a number 2 seed. Don't think they can get up to a 1 seed even if they were to win the tournament, because of how strong Alabama, Houston, and UCLA appear to be and that's analytics and much more. Baylor, I don't know. I mean, they were a pretty strong, I think even maybe the number 1 2 seed or the number 2 seed behind Texas, maybe even ahead of them based on even a week ago. And so now you wonder if there's a chance they drop to a number 3 seed. And I don't know. I've seen them go to Kansas City, flame out, and everything's fine. They're still a good seed entering the NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, lucky for them. Like, it's lucky and unlucky for them that, everybody behind them at this point has kind of stayed status quo for the most part. So there's not somebody that you could, even if they did lose again to Iowa State on Thursday, like, there would almost, to me, have to be 2 teams you'd have to make the argument that could push them down to a 3 and not just 1, because then you might be splitting hairs. But if there's 2 or 3 teams that maybe move into that category, then you have to move them down. But when you look at the rest of the people and quad 1 wins and all these other things, when you stack it up against the conference tournament, I will say this. Like, I've seen teams really good in the Big 12 tournament go in and they really want to win it. I've seen really great teams go in and not care about that. Occasionally, one time, I saw Kansas go in there and kind of half-ass through it, which doesn't happen very often, but because they're at their home court essentially. But it depends every year, team to team, how they feel about going into Kansas City, and it's not really going to help Baylor any. That's the problem. They could go through and win the thing, and guess what's going to happen? They're going to be a 2 seed. Or they could lose on the first day, and they'll probably still be a 2 seed.
Yeah, no, and a lot. Remember, others are in that mix as well. And we'll have, by the way,